Okay. Awesome. YouTube just got working. Welcome, everybody, to today's guided meditation. So, today, what we're really going to dive into is the concept of suffering, and more specifically, how we end our suffering in life. Now, the one thing to kind of keep in mind is that everyone's life is unique and different, and everything that causes us pain and pleasure is going to be unique specifically for us. So, everything that we're going to kind of dive into today, it's going to be just for you. So no matter what's said, no matter what you hear, you always want to look back within yourself, try to apply this for yourself in your own life. Now, the number one advice with this is leave no stone unturned. There's going to be a lot of things that may cause you tension within your reflection and within the meditation today, considering kind of the subjects and things that we're going to dive into. But it's really important to remember you need to go deeper into the cave in order to get out the other side. When tension and fear and anxiety and these things that may be met with this type of topic, it's really important to kind of continue to go through. Just kind of like when you're kayaking on the water, canoeing or boating on the water, if there's a giant wave, the last thing you want to do is try to turn and go around it or try to turn and avoid it, because it's just going to hit you on your side and flip you. In order to really get through it, you have to go through it. So it's, again, just try to relax. Try to just to look at things with an open mind, an indifferent look. Throughout the meditation, we're going to kind of set the stage for this type of stillness and get the calm, centered environment that we're looking for with this type of reflection. So if you haven't yet, you want to find a nice, comfortable place. Again, with somewhat natural low lighting. I have studio lights and stuff around just so you guys can see the face, but ideally you want to be in some low light situation. So the key to kind of keep in mind with everything that's going on right now is this is all for you. It's unique for you. And most importantly, the best investment each of us can make is kind of looking through each of our lives and seeing, what can I grow from? Where can I learn from? And every one of us has the tools already latent inside of us to kind of realistically overcome every hurdle and obstacle we've ever had in our life, whether it be a self-made hurdle or a past experience from another. The biggest thing to remember with this is it's all about love and growth. So we have some visitors during our meditation today. So if you see the kitty, that's Mosley, and she's just hanging out with us this morning. So what I'm going to ask is that you calm yourself, center yourself, and just take a seat. Lie down. If you're in a chair, just try not to lean back against it. You want to have your back free. You can see I have a pretty big gap between myself here and the wall. We're going to do our usual. We're going to start with 3 alms. Allow yourself to relax. Experience purely. Allow the dust to settle. Allow the emotions and the thoughts to fade away. Allow yourself to be present here and now. The past and the future do not matter. The only thing that's important is this very moment. So keep your attention on the I am, your own sense of self, throughout our experience this morning. The play of life did not begin until you showed up to view, until you awoke and the sense of I became present. But what was your experience during your sleep? Did life not appear before your eyes? And without your witnessing, without your gaze of awareness, did it not vanish, seemingly? Yet what was your first few seconds like when you woke up this morning? Was it calm and still, silently observing the surroundings, settling back into the form? Or was it met with constant chatter and emotional pains? When you awake each morning, do you forget how to dress yourself? Forget how to brush your teeth and get ready? The simple answer is no, we do not. For we remember. Now, this whole game, this whole play of spiritual awakening, of spirituality, of some deeper search, a drive for truth, it all boils down to one word: recognition. All of life is truly a game of what we recognize. And that which we're aware of, we see. But what we don't know, simply put, we don't know. All of life has been a game of what is real and what is not, what is true and what is false. But only in our deduction is the truth known. It is the same here when we seek to end our suffering. What is known will fall away, but what is not, what escapes our field of recognition and awareness, will sneakily go by unnoticed. And in these moments, we experience pain, suffering, chaos. But as with all things, we must come to explore what is causing us pain. What is it within us that is pain, in order to let go of it? And in order to end the cycles of pain and suffering, which we all experience throughout our life, we must be willing to look within. We must have the courage to face that which causes fear and anxiety and tension. For those serve like that forceful rogue wave. And if we seek to run away, life will continue to throw the wave at us, tossing us about, repeating cycles of pain and suffering, pleasure, met with a brief relief, but mostly chaos. However, we must explore, what is this pain? What is our suffering? And in many ways, we must see the pain and suffering and even the pleasures as forms of memory, carrying the past into the present. And we've each witnessed how these misinterpretations can impact our lives. You believe one person, one event is against you because there's been a past and similar experience where that was witnessed. But you must see that the past must be left in the past. This is not saying you must shove the past and lock it away in a closet, forcefully forgetting. No. You must learn and grow and move on from these events in the past in order to truly be free and rid of them, rid of the influences and tensions that they may bring and invoke in the current moment. This is within your power. You are fully capable of this. The past tensions and future anxieties only have power within your current life because you give them power. In order to end your patterns of negativity, in order to escape this wheel of suffering and chaos, we must take an honest look at ourselves. What is it that is pained? What is it that feels tension? For without this sense of observation and questioning, you will forever be caught in the tide of past pain, current chaos, and future trouble. Life is the biggest teacher we have. But if we do not learn from life, it's like we're sleeping in lecture. It's like we're ignoring the teacher. But this still does not mean you won't be tested on the material that is given before you. And in this same sense, this is where so many people find themselves, reliving the same cycles of pain, of chaos, not only hurting themselves, but all those around them. And know now you have the power to end that wheel. But you must approach this type of search genuinely, earnestly, honestly. We know that which we need to work on. We all know that which holds us back. For life riddles these truths with the many contradictions we experience. Telling someone one piece of advice, yet not following through with it in our own test of life. Telling someone it'll be okay when clearly they're upset. And your role is not to tell them it'll be fine. It's to listen. Just as when you are pained, sometimes all we need to do is get things off our chest. There are many examples where we become our own hypocrite, you could say. We go against the many words of advice we tell others. We go against even our own heart and how we truly feel we are what things should be. But as mentioned before, this is a game of recognition. And if you don't know, you don't know. And just like any question that we may have, how do you discover the answer? It's not necessarily a constant searching, but a holding on to the question. What is true here? Who am I? What really happened? What went wrong? Where could I have improved? There's an infinite amount of inquiries you can take, but you must question. For if we take everything for granted in life, we'll miss it. If you take these moments, these opportunities for freedom, they'll quickly move past you. There's no better time. In fact, there's no other time than now. Our present moment is the only moment that truly exists. And the tensions we may feel in this present moment, again, are more often than not derived from the past. Our civilization has been building humanity up on a foundation of mud. Yet we are attempting to build a skyscraper. And with the pains and wrongdoings of others and those in power, we can all witness what growth on a weak foundation can bring about in sense of the world. You must allow yourself to let go of pride, to let go of this sense of individuality. For it is this egoic self-interest that will constantly blind you from the truth. Just as those that think they know everything are reluctant to really learn anything, we must not live in an ignorance based on delusion. We know we're not perfect beings, but we must not compare ourselves to others and justify our poor behavior in the name of virtue, for that is ignorance. We must allow ourselves to open up our hearts and look within, to be free. It is everyone's right to be free, to not be bound to the normality of suffering, the ebb and flow of pleasure and pain, for we are each entitled to this constant, eternal state of peace. But we cannot reach this ground of calm, our original resting place, through force, or trying to bring it back, trying to remember what it was like. No. You can only come to being through letting go of what you are not. Hence, this whole path, this whole game of life is but a simple play of recognition. The mind and the emotions are limited, but consciousness is infinite. And just like when we learn the names of fruits and that sense of identification, that an apple is an apple, a banana is a banana, an orange an orange, we know that. And for the rest of our days, we live in that knowing. It is no different here. We must come to know and recognize that the thoughts and emotions that we experience within ourselves are but one aspect of life. are like the clouds in the sky, and that the sky itself is truly your being, consciousness, and your emotions and mind merely flow across them. So upon reflecting and looking within your own life, do not give any weight and seriousness to the thoughts and emotions that may come, for they are merely trying to bring you back to old patterns in which they can remain in control of. Trust in these words like I trusted in them. Your thoughts and emotions are not real. So what does that make you? You must come to see that life is always showing us the paths we need to take. But it is our self-interest that causes us to ignore these signs, to blind us from them. You're capable of looking within every experience in your life and learning from it. And through this recognition, the weight of the past will be relieved off your shoulders. The sensation is very similar to that of when you have something to tell someone. The heaviness and anticipation and excitement in your chest, and once it's gone, it's just that relief and sense of space. One must come to recognize that these things may only appear difficult at first, but this is like removing the toy from any child's hand. The mind and the emotions will be fussy at first, but look past them. Stay focused on your question. Stay focused on your goal. The goal, in this sense, is to end our suffering. When one truly seeks to change their own life, they must not look externally. They must look within. When life seems challenging, you must see it for what it is, an obstacle that you shall overcome. You must remember what brought you here, why you seek change. What are your motivators? What is your goal? What is your drive? Know now that the simple want, the simple desire for truth, for freedom, for peace, these are all worthy goals, topics, drivers to bring you to this realm of understanding. But you must want it. For only when we want in our heart do we actually follow through and act upon it. We can see all of life as this investment of love and attention and awareness and self. In order to move forward, at times we may need to seemingly take steps backwards. And in this sense, you must take a step inward. Look at the pains, the wrongdoings. And no matter the actions of others, no matter the outcome of events, focus on yourself. Focus on what you did. We cannot control, nor is it worthy of our time and energy to complain and grovel in the actions of others. We must only look at ourselves, for that is the only true thing that we can impact and influence and control. Life brought you here. Don't miss the message it's trying to give you. Allow yourself to become fully invested in yourself. We must understand that there are patterns and cycles of life. And more often than not, it is this winter time that brings many in a downward slump, depletes the energy, brings us to a darkened place. And as we approach the new year, we must come to see that there is no better time to capitalize for this power of transition and change than right now. As the days become longer, seek to invest your time for yourself, for your growth. Just as when you awoke, the identity was set of who you are, how you live, what's caused you pain, what brings you joy, through the remembrance of them, through your memory. And just like many aspects of life, memory can become a tool for growth or destruction. So when you awake and when you live, allow yourself to remember what you seek. Tell yourself, remind yourself daily what is truth to you, what it is you seek. Only through this remembrance will you allow yourself the space to see. Only through your continual focus will the other things and distractions drop away. The mind and the emotions, the past and the future, all of these things are but a play of the mind and the heart. And it's like stirring up a pond and expecting the water to not be muddy. You must not invest in the emotions. You must not invest in the mind. The only way to truly still the mind and the emotions, so to speak, is to give your attention to something more powerful. You. Divert your attention towards your given subject. Do not allow yourself to be swayed by the mind and the heart so easily. For the emotions and mind play off the past memory, the past pains, the past pleasures. But that which it seeks are false, and never truly satisfying as we've all experienced in life. Come to the ground of recognition within your own being. Ultimately, you must let go of your ego. The spiritual path is a gradual relaxation of this tension. Development, growth, change is the gradual falling away of your own self-interest. Ultimately, you must allow yourself to simply be and watch, to listen. And if you direct your energy towards constructive change, towards constructive action, such as reflecting upon the past, looking within your own contradictions experienced daily, then life will open up. Your mind and emotions will settle, and you'll drop into your true throne of the heart, where you can sense that peace and calm. That ground, pure being. But we must be honest within ourselves and constructive towards such recognitions. Why do you do the things you do? Why do you say the things you say? What are the causes that allow you to be you? And more importantly, without them, what are you? Who are you? Life is a beautiful dance, a beautiful play. And when we stop judging it, critiquing the game, we instinctively recognize it for what it is. And when you are in the flow of life, with life, as life, all happenings simply arise, and life responds as follows. To end your own wheel of suffering, the own cycles of ups and downs, you must be willing to look within yourself and cast aside all that brings doubt. Cast aside that which you know is not true. But you must also genuinely and earnestly look at how you currently act in this world, how you behave. Do you practice that which you preach internally or to others? Or do you live a life filled with contradictions? Feeling one thing is important and constantly doing another. If you find yourself in the latter situation, you must question why you do these things. What causes you to do these things? And when you recognize that which pulls you back into this life of individuality and selfishness and hypocrisy, then you can grow from it. Allow yourself to simply rest within your own self. explore the loudest points of tension within your experience. For it's often the loudest voice we hear internally that gives us the greatest clues to what can be let go of. For all aspects of the egoic self strive for survival. It is its nature. But you must be wise enough to overlook the loud voices and sensations, and to gear your attention to the quiet spaces within. For in your own stillness, you shall discover that which is true. End your suffering as you have the power. Allow yourself to calmly return. Hold within your heart the truth, that which you experienced. Life is a game of recognition, and you observe everything and only choose to ignore. Face what you know with confidence and courage, and with love. For love is the guiding light for all of us. And if we do not listen to those deep yearnings of our heart, we'll continue to repeat the cycle of breaking it. Allow yourself to let go. Alrighty. So meditation has concluded. And one thing that should always be brought to everyone's attention in this type of search is the fact that it sucks. Not gonna lie, but to be honest with you, it can be really painful to look at the things we've done in the past that have caused us pain. I know personally this one. Won't get into it too much in this video, but definitely later on. It's especially for those of us that have experienced depression. I mean, there was a few points in my life when I was suicidal, where I was just severely depressed. And, just because of how I was kind of raised, I put on a smile. So I was a pretty good actor in that sense, but it takes a lot of courage to really look at what's the cause of these things. And just remember, you're not alone with anything that we experience in life. That's probably the biggest piece of advice I can give, is just realize it's not just you. I think the mind and the emotions have quite the way of preaching or trying to convince you that it's just you, you're the worst, it's this. Realistically, because all humans with the current conditions of life, we all have this innate sense, rather this innate conflict and this innate kind of struggle of self-worth and self-interest. And it's not really our own faults. We live in a world where there's a lot of contradictions and lies and just blatant hypocrisy that we all experience and see on a daily. And this stuff over years just kind of deeply roots itself within us and can cause us a lot of pain and suffering. But the most important thing to kind of keep in mind is that we live a life and there is something to be learned with each thing. And it doesn't matter what you believe in, if you believe in a life after death or if you just believe once you're dead, it's over. The fact is, things happen in life and you can choose to learn from them or not. But if you do learn from them, if you actively pursue this, what caused this? Who caused this? Why did I do this? Why did I do that action? Then life will unfold, and rather quickly. Because once you give yourself the ground and space to really observe that which you're experiencing, the truth just kind of, switches itself in there real quick with your delusion and falsity. And it's just like any other aha moment you've had in life. It's just that, oh, wow. Oh, okay, I get that. And like some of us experience, you may do something or you may never do it again. You may dabble in that field and go back in that cycle, or at the moment you experience that aha moment, it's an entirely new revelation. It's entirely new life from that point on. And turning over this new leaf, we all do it, just like those kids. Spoiler alert, if you're a child listening to this, that Santa's not real. It's one of those things where you're like, oh, Santa's not real. And then you kind of instantly put all the pieces together that it's like, oh, it's totally been my parents or guardians doing this. Oh, okay. And then from there, you just move on with life. It's it's our own thoughts and our own emotions that give us this delusion that, oh, there's going to be anxiety if I let this thing go. There's going to be something wrong if I let this thing go. I can't approach this because I have to be mad at this person. I have to do these things. And it's just silly. Life is what you make of it. And I cannot express that enough. Life is what you make of it. You can wake up after your meditation. You can wake up tomorrow morning and truly believe something will be different if you truly listen to it in your heart, because it's all a point of mindset. I'm not sure. I feel like for some of the stories I've heard and shared with people and those of, their own stories and battles of depression that I've heard, um, literally, I don't remember when I came out. There was no distinct moment when I came out of, like my second depression, in college. It literally was just like one day, it was just like, oh, I'm kind of happy today. And the more I thought about it, I was just like, well, why was I kind of, depressed about that? And the mind just escaped me at that moment. I couldn't really look for anything. And there was a distinct moment within my own experience where there was a thought that came up like, oh, you were depressed for months and you couldn't even figure out why. You're a fool. And then there was also like, oh, well, it's over. Let's go. Let's move on. And I went with oh, it's over. Let's move on. But as I've experienced in my own life before, the moment you go back that one path of dark, negativity, that inward spiral, it's going to keep happening, over and over, because this game of life, it's what we fuel with our own awareness and our own attention. If you invest yourself in negativity, if you invest yourself in constantly remembering the past pains and the future anxieties, you're going to be stuck in that. And I cannot express that to you enough. If you stay in a mindset of negativity, and if you stay in that past victim mentality of, oh, I was hurt, I was pained, I was wronged, you're never going to live a stress-free, chaos-free life, because you're always putting yourself in between experience. You're always putting yourself in front of truth. And I'm going to conclude, to wrap up, because I have some sessions I got to go into today. I'm going to conclude this with one of my own little stories that I kind of made up. And life in this game of recognition is totally like flashback to middle school. You're at your crush's party that they invited you to, and you see them talking to someone of the opposite sex or same sex, whatever your preference is. And you see them, in the moment you see them laughing and smiling with another person, because they're your crush, you kind of love them low key. Your heart just kind of retreats. Tension and anxiety just kind of fills your presence and being. And negativity hits. Oh my gosh, look at them. They're with that person. They're so much happier. And we've all experienced, and I'm not going to really get into too much how your ego expresses itself. Some people, it's you're not worth it. You might as well just leave. Or, oh, look how handsome or beautiful that person is. They're way better than you. The seeds of doubt are many. And what happens in these situations when we go to a place, with the expectation of, oh, I'm going to be with my crush. They invited me to their party. I can't wait to hang out with them. And we see something experientially that's different than what we assumed would happen. Oh, they're talking to someone else that looks like they're having a better time than they would with me. We get hurt. It's the self-interest. It's our own judgments and assumptions of life that cause us the pain. And there's two types of people in this sense. There's people who sit there and ruminate and kind of negatively, run inwards in circles and kind of avoid the person or leave the party entirely. Or there's others who reach a point where they're like so riled up inside. There's been so much thoughts and emotions that, something just pops and they go and talk to the person. Now, in this experience and in this example, your crush is like, oh, hey, this is my cousin. I've told him so much about you. And they're like, oh, I'm so happy to meet you. Now, how was your entire experience before you knew that? You created an entire reality. You created so many different imaginary scenarios. And it doesn't matter which way you took it. The whole fact is you observed something in life and responded to it without truly knowing what's true here. And this is something that happens time and time again. And it's not just with, people we like or the people we care for. Every bit of pain and suffering in our life is based upon a simple assumption, a simple, a simple moment, a simple moment of asserting our intellectual or imaginary dominance over life and experience. And when this happens, you're never going to be happy, because you're failing to just live and be here now. And you're just acting crazy. I think society has a whole lot more acceptable amounts of crazy that people want to really recognize with life. And this simple aspect of assuming and judging and, kind of putting your own belief over life itself, it happens so much, and we all experience it. So the one thing that's the closing note is just simply observe your experience. No matter what happens, whether it be the good or the bad, give yourself the space to not be overwhelmed by the first instinct, that first impulse, to really recognize, oh, where does this impulse come from? Is this truly me, or is this something that's happened in the past and it's similar? And that is enough. That simple question is enough to give you the space to really just let it go. And as we've also experienced in life, it's that simple questioning that gives you that moment of just true freedom, that the attention and awareness can become distracted by something else, or to invest itself in something else. And again, we've all experienced moments where we've had an original tension, and maybe we were going to express it in that sense, get frustrated, feel like filled up with anxiousness, but there's so many opportunities where we can invest that energy somewhere else. So just give yourself the time, give yourself the love. Just to remember, that's all it takes, is just a simple act of remembering. That one moment is enough to just really just instantly dissolve all the pain and tension that you've experienced in life. So practice. You got to look, you got to really sit within yourself. You got to do this daily. And again, you do it already. Everything that I teach in terms of meditation and spirituality, everything I teach, you already know this, but we overlook the subtleties. And it's so important that each of us wakes up to, this game, this cycle, these patterns, because when you do, then you start to really see, oh, well, who is it that's kind of playing this game, this pattern? And that's when stuff starts getting wild. So I hope that you've gained something from this meditation today. And if not, that you can use it to carry forward in your life. But ultimately, start the new year off right. Seek to explore what causes you tension. Seek your own contradictions out. observe them, and let them fall. I wish you a happy new year, and I'll see you guys next week. Namaste. Bye. Oh, and now it's the same thing again. Last like 2 seconds of the stream, I gotta get the buttons. It's gonna end, and it's gonna be a little